Hello, Facebook. Just hopping in. I would do a live because I did a post on my page, which was a share of a blog from Gary Vaynerchuk, who I'm sure all of you know. I shared it on my Facebook page, and it was a really interesting blog, and there was one piece of standout information in there, and I really wanted to probably rant a little bit about it today because it really is so true. So if you are joining live, welcome. If you are catching the replay, please type replay in the comments so I know who has caught the replay. Please share this as well. I'm going to be shameless in asking you to share because I want you to share this information. Why? To anyone you know that you think is interested in building their brand and generating a successful business this year, please share this live. So we are going to talk about this one nugget of wisdom that he shared, which was focus on building your brand, prioritize this over short-term sales. And there was 9 tips that he gave for building a brand. And this one, to me, is the most important because the trend online, right, is funnels, social media. Like, let's just shove all these people through a squeeze page. Let's talk to them about building 6 figures really fast overnight, you know, doing NAFL doesn't take much just to make this short-term sale. And whilst some of these techniques may work in the short term, they do nothing to build your brand in the long term. And why do you want to build your brand? Well, your brand is an asset. Your brand will give you authority. Your brand is something that can wear changes. It has value. And long term, it will enable you to charge a premium. It will enable you to grow your customer base, get loyalty, get return customers. If you just follow the trend of, I'm going to shove as many people as I can into a funnel with something kind of half-assed and not well thought out, just to make myself a quick buck, then those people aren't going to return. They're not going to be loving and loyal customers. They're not going to generate you referrals, and they're not going to build you equity in your brand. So why do I think it's so important? I've talked a little bit about, you know, the benefits of having a brand, but Gary talks about how he has prioritized building his brand over short-term sales. Now, he has a really big, loyal following, and years ago, he could have monetized that in different ways. He could have had a mastermind, he could have sold an online course really, really early on, made a quick buck and not stuck around. But his, you know, goal is to be seen as somebody really, really valuable. And a brand has to add value because a brand is a relationship at the end of the day. You are having a relationship with your customers. So it's really, really important that you prioritize building your brand over short-term sales. But you can only do this if you have 3 things in place. And the first one, and I've beat my drum about this so many times and I will again, is clarity. You need clarity around your message, clarity around the problem that you solve for people and the value that you bring to people, clarity around who those people are, and then clarity around your product, and then having a plan to execute to get that out. If you don't have that, then essentially you don't have a brand because you're just flinging spaghetti at the wall hoping it sticks. You're sticking different messages out there and you're doing this flash in the pan approach to marketing. So if you want to build a brand over short-term sales, and doing that, prioritizing building your brand over short-term sales will bring you greater rewards over the long term, will make your business sustainable, it will be around for the long haul, then you need to have clarity. The second thing is consistency. So another C. The second C is consistency. And this is a hard one because I think what a lot of people tend to do, and everyone can be guilty of this with marketing or building their brand, is switching from one thing to the next because there's always a new trend. There's always something, the latest and greatest thing in marketing. One week it's Instagram Live. God, a year ago, everyone was on about Periscope, and then it's all about your email list, and it's about this, and it's about that. Everyone tends to kind of switch. And without consistency, without showing up consistently on the same platforms with the same consistency of message, then you are never going to get any traction with your brand. So have that clarity of message of who you are, what you stand for, what your brand position is, why people should care, what your brand story is, the problem you solve. Get that nailed. Work on that before you spend any money on Facebook advertising, logos, fancy websites, personal branding shoots. Don't get me started about personal branding shoots. I can't tell you how many people have come to me having spent like $5,000 on getting swooshy hair photos, and they don't even know who they're talking to or what about. In the service-based business, it's just rife, like this kind of, let's just sell the looking fabulous, but we don't actually know what we're actually bringing to our customers. So get the clarity and then be consistent. So show up on the same platforms. And when you have clarity as well, you know what those platforms are because you've mapped out a plan. You're like, okay, this is my audience. This is who I speak to, and this is where I need to show up. So again, if you're joining this live, welcome. If you're joining the replay, please click replay below. Put a 1 in the comments if you have clarity around your brand. If you have clarity around your message and your audience and your brand position, please type a 1 in the comments below. And we're talking today about prioritizing your brand, building your brand over short-term sales. So the first C we talked about was clarity, the second is consistency, and the third is commitment. In this digital age, I think commitment is something that we're all pretty scared of, right? We have, you know, Netflix that we can switch on and off. Every contract we have, no one has lock-ins anymore. You can turn things on and off. We don't have to stay the course with things. And I think if you have a primarily digital and online business where your overheads are low, then you can tend to not commit or see the distance with something because we want results instantly. We want everything instantly these days. Like, you know, we don't want to wait for a browser to load. We don't want to wait to watch a TV show. And we certainly don't want to wait to see results from a campaign. But when you look at any successful businesses out there, be it a service-based business or a product-based business, one thing that they will do really well is commit to a path. They will commit to seeing a campaign out from start to finish. I was listening to a podcast the other day. I think it was an Amy Porterfield podcast. She was interviewing somebody. They were talking about how they had one product and launched this product and then launched it again and again. Now, the first time they launched it, it flopped. But they didn't go, okay, we're just going to stop with this message. It doesn't work. They looked at what pieces are broken, what's not resonating. We know this is important. We know it's valuable to our customers. Maybe we're not talking about it in the right way, or maybe we're not demonstrating it in the right way. Maybe we're not reaching them on the right platform. Let's go back and look at that, but let's just not throw the baby out with the bathwater. We need to commit to a course with our brand if we want to build a relationship. It's exactly like a relationship. You need to have communication consistently, and you need to be clear, and you need to focus and make that your priority. Make the relationship your priority over making the sales, the short-term sales. And it is tempting, but if you see one of these ads on Facebook that's like, I made 6 figures overnight teaching people to launch, or whatever it may be, like, look behind that. Yes, maybe they did make 6 figures in 1 month. Are they going to be around in a year? Or have they only ever taught people to make money online? Is that the only thing that they've ever done? Because most of those Facebook ads that you see are usually people that have only ever worked in that space. And coming from a brand background and coming from a brand strategy background, it does irk me. I do get on my soapbox about it. But I think you have got to prioritize building your brand over those short-term sales if you want a business that's going to go the distance and that's going to grow year upon year, grow its customers, grow its relationships, and mean something to people. Because you've got to mean something to people if you want to keep a long-term relationship. So just to recap, the 3 things that I've touched on today are having clarity, having consistency, and being committed. So those 3 things are really, really important in building a brand and prioritizing your brand over short-term sales. I'd love you to share this live with anybody that it might be of interest to and might help, who is growing their business or out there growing their brand. Please click in the comments and write replay if you've watched the replay. Click a 1 if you have clarity in your brand, and a 2 if you don't have clarity in your brand. I'd really, really love to know. I'm really interested to hear back from people. Hopefully it's valuable and it's helping you understand some of the great strategies that global brands use to build long-term success and not be an overnight internet digital success and then flop a few months later. Have an awesome evening. See you later.